Yes, coming from, I don't know if you got that, but those were references from the Wizard of Oz movie, which ironically I've never seen myself. So I don't fully get those references. This picture right here is probably something you would think of when you think of landing in Mordor for good. And yes, I have watched and listened to the Lord of the Rings series, which is very good. But actually, I'm going to talk about a challenge of mine that kind of was a little bit like that. Actually, last week I was skiing. I have skied for, 5 days of my life. And if you put a little snow on the ground and put some skis there, that would look just like me on my adventures learning to ski. Last year, I wrote a book called The Art of eCommerce Debugging. It is for developers. It's required reading for developers on our team. And it's basically the book for how to quickly solve problems. The thing is, I kind of made a mistake in that. The real audience, the people who gained the most value from it, is merchants, online retailers, those of you that are here in this audience here. They are the ones that should be reading this book and using it to vet the people that, whether you're hiring an internal development team or working with an agency, using these techniques to vet the people that they work with. So as a little introductory thing, if you give me your business card at the end, I'll send you a book for free. I had a whole big snafu with getting my exhibit here, so I forgot to bring books. Otherwise, I'd give them out here afterwards. Here's my perspective that I bring to this conversation. Both a retailer and a service provider. So retailer in a very small sense comparatively to those of you that are here. So we sell online training materials for how to get better at Magento and e-commerce development, as well as some on the merchant side. But also a service provider, so we get like that view into a whole bunch of different companies' websites and how they approach this topic. Now, this topic that I'm going to be discussing is really important, and there's going to be some jargon in here. Conversion rate optimization is really the focus of what we're looking at. Conversion rate, for those of you that do not know, is the ratio of the people coming to your website compared to the people that check out. We're not talking about getting more people to your website, which is a nice bonus if you can get that as well. But the goal is to get people to come to purchase once they are on your website. And I found that conversion rate optimization, getting more people to purchase once they are on your website, is, while there are plenty of tools and offerings out there, the most basic options or solutions for this are often left out of the picture. And that is what I'm going to be talking about today. 4 mistakes that will land you in Mordor for good. But before we talk about this, I want to quickly iterate here a Surgeon General's warning, if I may. I'm going to talk about the 4 negatives, and I'm going to talk about how to bring them back to life. So if you hear me giving you some dumb advice, don't take it seriously. This is tongue-in-cheek, and the goal is to help give you what might be currently on your website, and then we look at how to fix that. So number 1, we're going to burn through these. Number 1, add some crap to your checkout. Let's put it that way. You see, as we look at conversion rate optimization, we often we read articles online and we find these charts. These are really fancy charts. Well, I guess that was back from June 2014. It's like, here's how you can increase your conversion rate. I'm not denying that some of these are good options, and take a picture of this. There are probably some really good options in here. But I'm talking about the things that are easy to miss, the things that actually do have an impact. Take a look at this. Number 1. Never use your website. Did you know that your checkout, well, of course you knew this. This is this dumb stuff. Your checkout is the final point of this funnel for getting a purchase. If you never use your website, and I know a lot of CEOs that kind of don't use their website, you're not going to know about what those friction points are. You're going to hear it from customers, but if you actually never go through it yourself, you might not see some of those problems. Glitches, gremlins, I'm sure you've heard of these type of terms. There's a whole bunch of others that are similar to this. They're usually there. You have to identify them, get them figured out, and the best way to do that is to work through the process yourself. You might say, well, but I rely on my agency to do this. They're supposed to be doing this for me, right? I mean, hopefully. But at the end of the day, there are tools like Ghost Inspector, very inexpensive. You basically tell it, you click through a series of actions, and ask it to run this for you. It's very simple to set up. You can literally run it before a deployment and after deployment. Make sure that this is working as well. Of course, there's higher powered options like MFTF and Cypress. I'm not talking about those as much. Ghost Inspector is super easy. Now, here is why I think we don't usually touch the checkout. Because it's complicated, right? We got a whole bunch of different options here. I can put a little more in a more simple graphic. Look at this. These are all the different, well, and actually there's more than this, different permutations for the checkout workflow. And if you're B2B, you might even have even more complexities than this. Thus, understanding that making sure that your checkout works is absolutely critical. We can go a little deeper here. If you want to make your checkout difficult to use, make sure that they can't use their favorite payment method. Now, this is a little bit more on the B2C side, but Apple Pay, Google Pay can be game changers. I don't know how many of you have ever used Apple Pay before to make a purchase, but if you're in a hurry, there's nothing like it. Super fast. Here is the problem with customizations. It's easy to go to an agency, say, hey, I need you to build this, this, and this. It gets built. Well, as you're using it at a later time, you may enter some information to the checkout, and you wait, and you click back, and then you click back into checkout. It's like, the information I just put in there, nothing was saved. That's one of those little details that's super easy to miss that can cause annoyance to your customers. A little annoyance to your customer might mean that they forget, well, or some other distraction comes up, and they then forget about the checkout. Take a look at this. Here's a customization on a website that we audited. You have to click Choose a Delivery Date, and you have to click Continue to Payment and Review. Easy to miss, and customers were doing it all the time. Here's another little bonus tidbit. If you are wanting to cause your customers some consternation, make sure the wait time after you click Place Order, it takes a long time to place that order. Like 30 seconds. They're wondering, did my credit card go through? Did it get charged twice if I have to click it again? That can cause some real problems. So, with all this bad advice I just gave you, let's turn it around and take a look at what we really should be doing with our websites. Enact a post-delivery testing regimen. Again, with Ghost Inspector, super easy. You can just click a button and your website is tested. You have a list of what test succeeded and what test failed, screenshots, etc. Of course, you can do manual testing. That's great. But using Ghost Inspector automates it. So the time that it takes to actually do some testing is as a bonus as well. And make sure that information is saved when returning to checkout. It's such a basic thing, but I find that that's not always the case. It's number one, add some crap to your checkout. Number two, prevent your customers from finding the product that they need. You would be surprised as far as how difficult it is to find product on a website. Let's start by breaking this down and check this one out. Don't replicate the in-store experience. You see, if somebody were to go to a brick and mortar retail store, what type of experience would they get? I mean, as long as we're not going to Sears, may they rest in peace, we usually can expect to get some good help. Not like reading the instruction manuals, what I remember from Sears. The salesperson asks questions and is going to give a good recommendation for a product that actually makes sense. So if we want to hurt our conversion rate, we would definitely not want to replicate the in-store experience. And a great way to replicate an in-store experience would be a quiz. You would not want to implement a quiz if you are wanting to improve your conversion rate. We actually, with our new website, we went headless on our website. But on our new website, we haven't gotten this put back yet. But we do a lot of certification training. And a common question that we have gotten is, well, what certification should I go for? Easy. We had a quiz for that. There's other quiz, beauty. A website that we have done a lot of work on, marlowhite.com, this website right here, they have a quiz in their navigation menu. Absolutely brilliant, helping people find exactly the products that they need very quickly as opposed to trying to filter down through a list. Another thing, here's a quiz for determining a knife. Another one of our clients sells railings. What type of railing is helpful in your situation? There's options here. Typeform, Revenue Hunt are two great ones. We've used a lot of Typeform. $40 a month, I think, roughly, and maybe, I don't know, 4 to 8 hours of work max. Drop a Typeform quiz on your website and you're immediately getting feedback from what customers want. But if you want to take this another step forward, I mean, somehow if you accidentally created a quiz to improve your conversion rate, you'd certainly want to discard all the results that you get from that. Like, you wouldn't want to learn from those results, but better yet, you wouldn't want to use those for segmentation or any type of personalization on the website. These results from these quizzes are very powerful and informative. You would also want to avoid product recommendations. You probably know that Adobe Commerce comes with live product recommendations, i.e. the paid version of Magento, comes with live product recommendations is the name of it. Very easy to install, and the recommendations that it comes up with are pretty decent. So you definitely want to delete that off your website. And avoid About Us page. I have found that the About Us page in our research is the #1 clicked on page from the home page. Like, if you were to aggregate all the pages, and obviously like maybe different product categories individually would be well clicked on, but the #1 page that's usually clicked on is the About Us page. Just like the wonderful Philip Jackson, who I'm humbled to speak after, was talking about consumers love a personal connection. They want that emotional connection. And I have found that the About Us page is very important for that. So there's something we can do about this. There's something we can do. Quizzes. Implement a quiz on your website. If it fits what you need, typically you'd be surprised as far as how relevant a quiz probably is in your given market. One thing I did not put up here, but something we've come across quite recently in a lot of different scenarios I'm becoming much more aware of, is your whole category experience. When somebody comes to a category page, do they see this wall of products and they're like, what the heck is this about? Or do they see a way to drill in to the given categories? Maybe you still have a list of categories, products available, but a way to drill down to the given category. We were talking with somebody who they were selling X amount a month before they went to do Adobe Commerce, and unfortunately, once they went to Adobe Commerce, it would drop by like 60% a month. That's a very significant problem. Was it Magento's fault? Absolutely not. Magento is a fantastic platform. What happened was the research did not happen, and in this case, it was actually the category pages was a significant contributor to that. People couldn't tell the difference between products. So helping people find the differences between products with a quiz, better category drill down navigation makes a big difference. So that's #2. Sprinkle. So #1 is get some crap into your checkout. #2 is make sure your customers can't find the product that they want. They get frustrated. They're going to leave your website. #3, it sounds similar, but it's going to be more on the user experience side of making your website difficult to navigate. Yes. A great way to do that is to make your website slow. And even a better way to do that is to go out and purchase 30, 50, maybe more modules from the marketplace, drop those on your website, and you got a slow website. It's going to be perfect. So make it very slow. You can also make it hard to read. There was this fad, I think, back in the 2010s, where maybe 2015 or so, roughly, where really small font sizes was like the thing. It's hard to see. We did an audit for a company in the Kansas City area. They migrated to Magento 2. Same story. Their website was struggling. Well, what was part of the problem? Well, part of the problem, not the entire problem, but part of the problem was that the age range for the people that were buying from their website was the 40 and up range. Well, guess what? Their font size decreased by, was it 40%, 30%? They used to be nice and big size, and it dropped significantly. People were having trouble finding stuff on the website. It also didn't help that the cart was incredibly hard to find as well. Basic things. Oh, use the default Magento search engine, which is honestly not great. Elasticsearch is better, I get that, but there are other options. For example, Adobe Live Search, which is pretty good on the Commerce Edition if you're using open source. Algolia, Clayvu, those sort of things. Those work really well to be able to make search even easier. From an ADA compliance perspective, this is becoming a much bigger deal. If there was one area that I was to say that I often see problems in this, it's on the carousel images. First, we probably don't even need carousel images, or like the rotating banners on websites. But at the end of the day, making sure your text blends into the background makes it hard to read. Now you might say, Joseph, I mean, I get ADA compliance. It's good. We should do that. But it's not really that much of a priority. Well, think about the last time you were browsing your phone in the broad daylight. I mean, I'm not talking about the iPhone 14 that has all these great brightness on it. I'm talking about like my, I don't know, iPhone 13, whatever it is, that it's not quite as bright in the sunlight. That's called situational disability. So when we're trying to read our iPhone in bright sunlight, it's hard to see. The contrast becomes all the more critical. So right there, you might be eliminating customers from easily browsing your website because the carousel image blends in with the text in the foreground. This was a funny one. I don't remember why I was on this website. I was like, where is the hamburger menu? How do I navigate to this website? I found that by scrolling down the website and then scrolling back up, the hamburger menu appeared. You know that little menu, you click on it, it drops down, you can see all those other menu items. Like somebody's not using their website. Use your website on both mobile and desktop to be able to see how it works. All right, again, continuing on with this ADA stuff, it's really important. Obviously, this is a double whammy. It helps as you make it so your website is accessible. It makes it so that people with disabilities can browse your website. But also, if you don't do it, it's inviting a lawsuit. And that is not a pleasant thing. I've been hearing much more about those sort of things here recently. So, let's look at the bright side. Fix your performance. It really does matter. Nobody likes using slow websites. There's no reason for a slow website. Guess what? People say Magento is slow. It's not. It's the stuff that we put on in Magento that makes it slow. Magento out of the box is fast. To be honest, I know Philip was talking about Luma being from 2012. Yeah, it is. But it's not bad out of the box. It's not bad. What happens is all these customizations that are done poorly, that is what impacts the performance. So that was number 3. Make your website difficult to navigate. Number 4, don't ask for product reviews. You see, I find that product reviews are a critical aspect to customers understanding that your brand is worth buying from. In the day of Amazon and all these big brands, we are left to establish trust in a very quick manner. Having product reviews is a very important and a critical way to do this. And unfortunately, I find that there's many retailers who are scared to start asking for reviews. Like, what are people going to post about my product? And so product reviews are kind of pushed down the list of priorities, and they might not even actually ever be implemented. But there's some antidotes to solve this problem. Number 1, well, actually looking at it from the negative perspective, don't request reviews from happy customers. If you have a review program and you have products that have 0 stars because they have 0 ratings on them, that actually is not a good thing. But if you request reviews from happy customers, now you might be getting somewhere. And in fact, for maybe the couple of you that in this room that might not have reviews already going on your website, you could hide the reviews on your website and start asking for them for like 6 months or something, and then you turn on the review feature, the actual visibility on your website, and it's like, wow, people see all the reviews and they see that you have some good stuff. The other thing is to stuff the review request with a whole bunch of really irrelevant sales information. Because then what happens is people are like, I don't want to have anything to do with this. Instead, what I found is very helpful is ask for help. Say, hey, would you help me? Would you write a review about this product? It will be a help for us. Put a picture of your sales team or whatever in there, and you might actually get some reviews. Oh, here's another one. Do not respond to negative reviews. Just like forget that they ever exist, or even better yet, this is a legit conversation. So a merchant that we worked with actually wanted the ability to edit the reviews to make sure that they could to change it to be more relevant because the reviewer clearly had incorrect information. That's less than ideal. But regardless of how you implement your reviews, the metadata for the reviews comes through to Google. And if you have reviews on your website and you don't have that little stars icon showing up on Google, you're missing out. Look at this one on the top. They've done it very well. Well, I put that in quotes because their competitor, one down, has those bright stars, and in dark mode, those sure stick out really nicely, and I would probably be clicking on them as opposed to meatandbone.com. So that is the bright side of this one, is request people's help. Ask for their help to build out your review program. You could incentivize with a giveaway or something along those lines, but you probably don't even have to do that. Just by simply asking for help, that emotional connection that hopefully you've started from the beginning on your website with a really well-defined, well-built-out story on your About Us page, that connection continues as well. Ensure good and bad reviews are posted. This QR code is a link to a website that might surprise you. Based off of consumer research, the people expect to have stars between 4.1 and 4.6, somewhere in there, as far as a rating. If it's all 5-star reviews, guess what? We start seeing it. Our BS meter starts going off. Get reviews going on your website, and you will help customers understand that this is some quality product. And the negative feedback, use that in your product development cycles, or kick those. Don't sell those products anymore. If you have any questions, I'd be happy. We have a couple of minutes, just a couple of minutes, to be able to answer those questions. We have to vacate here. Well, actually, Muliadi is coming up next, and so he will be having a great talk. But I'd be happy to answer just a couple of questions, or can talk over at our exhibit over on the other side.
You're welcome to meet with Joseph later for questions, but please raise your hand and I'll come over with the mic for any questions.
I have a question about the quiz that you showed in the
Yes.
navigation. That's pretty cool. But I can imagine there is some functionality there. Is that a custom made, or do you know any module that does that?
As far as Magento modules, I'm not aware of one. I'm sure there is, but we use just Typeform. Typeform is like $40 a month, software as a service.
Typeform on the menu?
Typeform, yeah. So basically, you can go through, you enter your questions in. It's a manual process, right? So it's Typeform, you go through, enter your questions in, and then you can, based off of that, you have logic that says, okay, here is the right answers given these given inputs.
Okay, so you ask all the questions in that. When it drops down, everything should be there because you don't have a
That's
chance
right.
to go to the next step or anything.
That's right. Yep.
Cool.
And again, I've knocked them out in 4 hours or even less, but I'm being generous when I say 8 hours. It's worth a try.
No, I think it's very cool. Yeah.
Super easy. And then, of course, if it works, then you can build out something custom. But at the beginning, just try it out. $40 a month, you can't lose for that.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks for that. Any other questions?
Hi, Christopher Carson, Above the Fray. I loved your talk. Thank you for all that great information. Is there a site or two, I guess, that would kind of embody, in a package, some of the things that you talk about on maybe the positives, the bright side, you said.
The bright side, that's right. That's right. I have a list of those websites. I don't have one on the top of my head, but I can definitely get you one.
Cool. Thank you.
There's a couple out there that are really good, especially on Magento.
Yeah.
There's a coffee website that First in Coffee, something like that, is the one that I look at as outstanding.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Joseph, for an amazing talk. That's a tough act to follow.
It was a pleasure being with you all. Thank you, and look forward to chatting more. Take care.